Emirates handed one tennis player $2 million in real money and handed another tennis player a fake headline that traveled faster than the actual cash ever could. By the time you finish this video, you will know exactly which deal was real, which one was invented, and which of these two players was still playing tennis in the second week of Wimbledon, while the other one was already on a flight home. One name is attached to a verified $2 million contract. The other name has been attached to 5 different fake contracts in less than a year, and not one of them is real. Stay until the end, because the answer to who actually wins this story is not the name you think it is. Before we get into it, if you are new here, this channel breaks down the real stories behind the headlines in tennis, the deals that are verified, the deals that are fabricated, and the matches that decide which is which. Subscribe now so you do not miss the next one. The headline that went viral. A screenshot started moving across Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. The claim was simple and built to spread. Emirates Airlines had signed 20-year-old Filipina tennis star Alexandra Eala to a personal sponsorship deal worth $2 million a year, plus free first-class travel to every tournament, under a program with a name that sounded official enough to believe. The post carried the kind of confident, specific detail that makes fake news work. A dollar figure, a perk, a campaign title. It spread through tennis fan pages, it spread through general entertainment pages, and it spread because people wanted it to be true. Here is the problem. Emirates never signed Alex Eala, not for $2 million, not for any amount, not once. The deal that actually happened while that fake post was circulating, a real deal was sitting in plain sight, and almost nobody was connecting the two. On January 15, 2026, Emirates announced a genuine, verified partnership with the actual world number 1, Aryna Sabalenka. She became the airline's first ever individual tennis ambassador in company history. To market, she unveiled a specially designed Emirates A380 aircraft in Melbourne, painted with a Grand Slam livery covering all 4 majors. Emirates called her a global icon. Sabalenka called the partnership a natural fit for her ambition and attention to detail. The deal was covered by Tennis.com, SportPro, SportCal, and Emirates' own newsroom. Every detail was on the record, confirmed, dated, sourced. That is the $2 million number the fake Eala posts were quietly borrowing. Someone took a real athlete's real deal and reused the number, the perks, and the airline, and simply swapped in a different face. That is not a rumor. That is a pattern, and once you see it here, you will start seeing it everywhere online. This wasn't the first time. Here is the part that should really concern you. The fake Emirates post was not an isolated incident. It is one entry in a growing list of fabricated deals attached to Alex Eala's name, each one bigger and more absurd than the last. Months earlier, a different viral post claimed sportswear giant Wilson had offered Eala a $45 million endorsement deal, complete with a fake quote where she supposedly said she would give the money away to help others. Fact-checking outlets traced the photo used in that post back to a former Wilson executive who had already resigned before the post even appeared. There was no deal. There was no quote. It was fabricated from nothing. Then came an even bigger one. A post claimed an Abu Dhabi billionaire had offered Eala a 10-year, $7 billion package, a $1 billion down payment plus $600 million a year to make her the face of a tennis tournament that does not exist under that name. Fact-checkers called it exactly what it was: fake. The math alone should have been the giveaway. That number is roughly 10 times larger than the biggest real contract in professional sports today. 2 fake mega deals in under a year, both attached to the same young athlete, both engineered for clicks. That is not bad luck. That is a business model, and Alex Eala is the raw material, her real sponsor list. So what does Alex Eala's actual endorsement portfolio look like, the one that is verified and on the record? Nike outfits her on court, Babolat supplies her racket, Globe Telecom signed her as an ambassador when she was only 8 years old, long before any of this attention arrived. The Bank of the Philippine Islands features her as an ambassador for discipline and financial literacy. In July of last year, she was introduced as an ambassador for a juice brand. That is the real list. No airline, no billion-dollar golf contract, no $45 million racket deal. Real, modest, verifiable partnerships built over years, not manufactured overnight by a Facebook page chasing ad revenue. What she actually said about it. Here is where this story gets more interesting than any fake headline, because Alexandra Eala did not stay silent about any of this. After a quarterfinal exit at the Philippine Women's Open in January this year, a reporter asked her directly about the flood of fabricated stories attached to her name. Her answer was calm, precise, and worth repeating in full. She said that is not really under her control. She does not have power over what other people post. She said she is aware there have been a lot of fake news articles, and that it is concerning because sometimes those posts get a huge number of likes, and it becomes difficult for people to tell the difference when they see it online. 21 years old, sitting in a press conference after a loss, and already more media literate about her own misinformation problem than most of the accounts spreading it. She did not chase the story. She did not deny it with outrage. She named it plainly and moved on. That composure is going to matter again in a few minutes, so keep it in mind. Now, let's get to Wimbledon. This is where the fake headlines and the real tennis finally collide, because July 2026 gave us the most dramatic split screen this rivalry of storylines has ever produced. On July 4th, center court, Wimbledon third round. Alexandra Eala, seeded 29, walked out to face the defending champion and third seed, Iga Swiatek. On paper, this was not close. Swiatek had won this exact tournament 12 months earlier, but Eala had beaten her before back at the Miami Open, and she proved that was no fluke. The first set was an 84-minute war. Eala saved 2 set points just to force a tiebreak, then survived that tiebreak 11 points to 9. She took the second set 6 games to 2, closing it out as Swiatek's error count climbed. Final score 7-6, 6-2. Alexandra Eala had just eliminated the defending Wimbledon champion, and in doing so became the first Filipino player, male or female, to reach the second week of a Grand Slam. She broke down in tears in her on-court interview, talking about training with her brother and her grandfather after school, about ruffled socks and chubby cheeks, about every little girl back home watching this moment. It was raw, it was real, and it needed zero fabricated airline contract to make it a viral story. The other half of the draw now flipped to the very next day, July 5th, center court again. The world number 1, Aryna Sabalenka, the same player Emirates put her name and money behind in January, walked out against former world number 1 Naomi Osaka in the 4th round. Sabalenka had beaten Osaka in all 3 of their meetings earlier that season. This was supposed to be routine. It was not. Osaka broke her early, ran away with the first set 6 games to 2, then closed out a tiebreak in the second set 7 points to 2 to seal it, 6-2, 7-6. 1 hour and 28 minutes. It was Sabalenka's first straight sets loss at a Grand Slam since the 2020 US Open, and it ended a streak of 14 straight Grand Slam quarterfinals for her. In her press conference afterward, a clearly frustrated Sabalenka admitted she just wanted to get completely drunk and forget about tennis for a while. So look at where that leaves us. The Emirates ambassador, the $2 million deal, the branded aircraft, was out of the tournament in the 4th round. The player, with zero real or fake airline money behind her, had just knocked out the defending champion and was 1 match away from a Grand Slam quarterfinal. How the fairy tale ended here is where I need you to keep watching, because this is not a story that ends with a trophy, and understanding why matters for everything that comes next. On July 6th, 4th round, Eala faced 13th seed Jasmine Paolini, a former Wimbledon finalist. It went 3 sets. Paolini took the first set 6 games to 4. Eala fought back and leveled it, 4-6. The decider went the distance, with Paolini finally breaking through late to close it out 6 games to 3. Eala's historic run ended there in the round of 16, the best Grand Slam result of her career. She left London having rewritten Philippine tennis history, the first player from her country to ever reach the second week of this tournament. No fabricated Emirates contract added a single point to that achievement. Her racket did all the talking. Why the fake posts even exist. Step back for a second and ask yourself why this keeps happening to one specific athlete. The Philippines is a country of more than 100 million people with one of the largest social media audiences on earth, and it has never had a true global tennis superstar of its own to rally behind. That is a vacuum, and vacuums like that get filled by something. Sometimes it gets filled by genuine achievement, like a win over a defending Wimbledon champion. And sometimes, in the gap between real milestones, it gets filled by fabricated program names, invented dollar figures, and quote cards nobody ever actually said. Fact-checking groups have traced these fake pages to a simple, ugly business model. Build an audience with real tennis content, then post an outrageous fake story, funnel the clicks to an ad-heavy website, and repeat. Some of these pages reportedly earn real money doing exactly this, month after month, off a young athlete's name. That is the actual villain in this story. It is not Sabalenka, who earned her deal fairly and has never said a bad word about Eala. It is an ecosystem that would rather manufacture a headline than wait for the real story to catch up, even when the real story, as Wimbledon just proved, is better than anything they could invent. What comes next? So where does this actually go from here? Eala's ranking is projected to rise to a career high in the high 20s after this Wimbledon run. The hard court swing is next, building toward the US Open at the end of August into September. If she backs up this result with another deep run on a major stage, the conversation around a real, verified global sponsorship, the kind of deal that does not need a fake program name to sound impressive, gets a lot more serious. Real brands do pay attention to real results. Sabalenka's Emirates deal set a real number for what a top tennis star's off-court value looks like. Whether a brand puts a real number next to Eala's name before the US Open ends is a genuinely open question, and it is one worth watching without a single fabricated headline attached to it. The challenge. So here is what I want from you before you close this video. Drop your prediction in the comments. Which brand do you think signs Alex Eala's first real verified major global deal? And does it happen before the US Open ends in September? Name the brand, name the month, put it on the record now. Because when the real announcement lands, whoever called it first gets bragging rights in that comment section. This channel is tracking every verified deal, every fabricated one, and every match between now and Flushing Meadows. The real story is still being written, and unlike the fake posts, we are only telling you the parts we can actually prove. Subscribe so you are here when the next chapter breaks.